Hello, I'm Japangiee, or actually I'm Angie, but that's my alias. Today is actually my 29th birthday, so happy birthday to me. And I wanted to share with you guys 29 life lessons that I learned as a new 29-year-old. So please come with me around Asakusa. We're gonna walk around together as I share these tips with you. Okay, let's go. Before I start, you're probably thinking, who is this lady and why is she trying to give me life advice? Well, I lived in Canada for most of my life. I was raised there and spent the majority of my life there. And recently, in the last 2 years, I was able to relocate my entire life to Japan. And you might be thinking about doing the same. If it's not Japan, then maybe somewhere else in the world. And I hope that my unique experience gives you the courage or inspiration to go out there and do the same. And with that being said, let's start with life lesson number 1. This is lesson number 1 and probably the most important lesson out of all of these. And it's to be positive. Life is how you perceive it. And I know this might sound really cliche because it's been repeated over and over and over again, but I personally apply this to every single attribute in my entire life. And that's to always stay positive. People always say, are you a glass half empty or glass half full person? And I am always the glass half full person because your interpretation of events is how the world shapes around you. The world shows itself to you in a positive way, always. And you choose that. I promise you, life is better this way. Lesson number 2, at the end of the day, nothing really matters except for your relationships with other human beings. You know, when you're old and gray and you look back on your life, what are the things that you'll actually remember? Is it the amount of deals that you did for work? Is it the amount of trophies that you got doing your hobby? Maybe, but maybe not. And what you'll really remember is the memories that you made with the people that you care about. So that's why I think your relationships with other human beings is one of the most, or the most important thing in life. Piggybacking off of my last point, let's jump into lesson number 3. Meaningful relationships require effort. I feel that in the year 2025, everyone is in competition to see who can be the most nonchalant. I'm sorry, pretending like you don't give an F and being nonchalant completely contradicts putting in effort. Effort requires passion. Effort requires extra thought and care and love. And people are so obsessed nowadays with not giving a fog. But I need you to know, especially if you're someone that struggles with friendships and relationships, I'm sorry to break it to you, and I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Human relationships require effort. And if you want something meaningful, you have to put in the effort. All right, we're back to walking around. This is lesson number 4. Look good, feel good. Put some effort into how you look. If you're a girly pop, get your nails done regularly. If you're a guy, get your hair cut on time. Wear clean sneakers. Wear clothes that make you feel confident. That is what I mean by look good, feel good. Trust me, if you put some effort into how you look, you will show up differently in all the spaces that you occupy. You'll be more confident, you'll feel better about yourself, and you'll interact with the world in a way that is going to be positive for you. Life lesson number 5. Know what you want. Whether it's what you're looking for in a significant other and the traits that are really important to you, or what you're looking for in a job, only when you know what you want can other people help you get what you want. I think knowing what you want is really important because if you don't, then you're spending all this time and effort contemplating. And what does contemplating do? Waste your life. Waste your time. Okay, let me give you an analogy. Person A wants Frosted Flakes cereal. So they go to the grocery store, they go straight to the cereal aisle, pick up the Frosted Flakes, and get out of there. There's no idle time at all. Okay, now imagine person B. Person B knows that they want cereal, but they don't know what kind of cereal. So they're still going to the grocery store. They end up at the cereal aisle. So they're looking and comparing and evaluating all their choices. And at the end of the day, they will choose a cereal. But it took some time to get there, right? Because you're making your decision once you arrive at the grocery store. Now, let's talk about person C. Person C is hungry. Person C goes to the grocery store and they know that they're hungry and they're craving some food, but they have no idea what kind of food they want. So they go and they wander around aimlessly throughout the entire grocery store because you know what? The entire grocery store is full of food and it takes them half a day to go through every single aisle to figure out what they want. And they might even pick something that they didn't even want to start with. Now that I said my analogy out loud, I feel like it wasn't a very good analogy. But what I'm trying to say is if you have direction, if you know what you want, it's very easy for you to make decisions. And if it's easy for you to make decisions, then you're cutting out a lot of idle time and not wasting time before you make decisions. All in all, extremely important for you to know what you want. Here's life lesson number 6, and I'm actually at the perfect place to share it with you. I'm at Sensoji Temple here in Tokyo, and it's one of the biggest temples here. It's completely packed. What's everyone doing here? Look at all these people. They're here to manifest and to pray and to make wishes. My life lesson here is manifestation is real, but in order for it to come into fruition, you need to know what to manifest. And this is exactly why it's so important to know what you want, because manifestation is real. And that's why it's also very easy to manifest negative things. This is how I think it works. Manifestation is the materialization of your thoughts. So regardless of whether the thoughts are negative or positive, it will show up in your life if you're thinking about it. It's like if I'm walking and I think, don't trip, don't trip, don't trip. I feel like the likelihood of me tripping is a lot higher than if I weren't thinking about tripping at all. And I want to share a weird example of that with you. I used to have this irrational fear that when I open my bath towel after a shower, a spider is going to jump out at me. So very often I would shake my towel before actually using it. And strangely enough, throughout my 29 years of life, it's actually happened to me twice, where I actually shook a spider out of my bath towel. But if you ask any other person if they've ever had this fear, I'm pretty sure they tell you no. No, it's never happened to them before because they were never fearful of such a thing. And ever since I stopped thinking about it, I haven't seen any more spiders jump out of my bath towel. I also have 2 stories to share with you where I can prove through my own experience that manifestation is real. And this is classic Angie lore, so buckle in. Okay, story time. When I was in high school, I lived in this house. And by no means did we recently just move in there. Like, we'd been living there for a while. And after school one day, I noticed for the very first time that there was space in our yard for a tree. So the first thing I said when I went home and my mom was there, I told her, Mom, we should plant a fig tree in the front yard. And she's like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm like, yeah, we've lived in so many houses. We've never had a fig tree. Here's our chance. And that was that. The conversation was over. We both moved on with our day. And then the very next day, I come home from school and my mom was like, you'll never believe what happened. And she was like, remember how you said yesterday that we should plant a fig tree in our front yard? And I was like, yeah. Again, I hadn't given it another thought since I, put that out there in the universe. She said, one of her friends randomly, literally out of the blue, showed up at our house with a fig tree sapling. And when my mom received her, she was like, oh, well, this is so random. Like, thank you so much. Why did you randomly decide to drop by today? She's like, oh no, I have saplings from my fig tree and I just randomly thought of you and I wanted to come and see if you're home and give you some. And the lady was even like, oh, well, I'm happy you still live here because I don't know if you moved or not. I feel like there are so many strange laws of the universe, and this to me is one of them. Like, what are the odds of this lady randomly getting an itch to drop off fig tree saplings to my mom the very next day after I told her, oh, we should plant a fig tree in the front yard? In life, I feel like there are coincidences and there are fated events, and I truly believe there's something we don't understand about the universe, but this is concrete proof that you need to be manifesting what you want because the universe will give you what you want. Okay, I have another example. And this just happened to me this week, like literally 2 days ago. This is another concrete proof and evidence that manifestation is real. So 2 days ago, I hosted a birthday party. And it was one of those like potluck birthday parties, right? Like everybody bring one dish. And the dish that we were gonna bring was a Vietnamese tricolor dessert. And in Tokyo, everything is very small. So all the food comes in really small containers, and nobody who lives in a small apartment has a giant Tupperware. At least I don't. And the plan was to make this dessert for at least 20 people to share. So I needed to get a big container, right? Fast forward to the day before my party, and we still don't have a big container. So last resort, we're gonna go the morning of my party and go buy this container and then come back and make the dessert. So anyways, I'm giving you too much backstory. I just need to tell you that I needed a big container that I don't have, right? So the night before my actual party, my friends surprised me with a birthday dinner, just us girls. And our friends also got me a custom cake. It's adorable. I'll show you a picture of it here. So we ate half the cake at dinner, and when we asked the server, oh, can we get the box back to pack it away because, we didn't finish it, the server was like, oh, I'm so sorry, but we actually threw away your box. And when the cake was returned to us by the restaurant, they actually put it in this giant Tupperware. Like they put the cake in this Tupperware and was like, oh, you don't have to return it. It's okay. Like, we're so sorry we threw away your box. And at the time, my only concrete thought was, oh my God. The universe knew that I needed a huge Tupperware to make Japangiee, and the universe also knew that I didn't have time to go buy one. The universe somehow, with its bits and pieces and magic and whatever it is and coincidences, somehow gave the restaurant an opportunity to give me this perfectly sized Tupperware to use for our dessert. And we used it for the dessert. It is literally manifestation materializing in my life. I wanted to tell you about this because it just happened 2 days ago, but this continuously and always happens to me. So please take my words seriously when I say that manifestation is real, and to only manifest good things and positive things, and especially the things that you want. All right, this is tip number 7. A career that will give you fulfillment and happiness and joy. I know jobs are not supposed to be fun, but I promise some can be, is a job that complements 2 things. 1, what you like, and 2, what you're good at. So I guess this is more homework for you. Now you have to figure out what you like and what you're good at on top of what you want. Life lesson number 8. No one owes you anything. You are kind because you're a kind person. You are generous because you're a generous person, not because you want others to be kind or generous back to you. You are never in control of how other people treat you, so please don't set yourself up for disappointment when you are always thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna give A to receive A. I'm gonna give B to receive B. I have a quick story that I want to share about this as well. One time when I'm opening a door, I opened the door for someone. And I held it open as they walked past me, right? Because they were right behind me. And they didn't say thank you, and they didn't even acknowledge me. And I genuinely felt like I was offended. I felt like, wow, so rude. Like the least you could do is say thank you. But later on, I reflected on that. I'm like, why did that bother you? Well, because I had expectations that somebody would say thanks. I'm not in control of how this guy behaves. I'm only in control of how I feel. I opened the door for someone because I wanted to, because I'm a nice person, I guess, right? Not because I expect someone to say thank you when I do that. So now I'm applying this whole philosophy to my everyday life. I am nice to people because I'm nice. I'm mean to people because I'm mean. I'm not gonna have expectations and be disappointed when you don't meet my expectations, because my expectations are in my head. So behave how you want to behave without expecting anything in return, because no one owes you anything. Life lesson number 9. Don't spend money on useless stuff. Guys, I mean it. Right now, with this ridiculous Labubu craze and lip gloss launches from celebrities, let's be for real, guys. Let's just lock in for a second. What are you doing? Not to call anyone out, because I am quite a hobby enjoying person myself, right? Of course, everyone's situation is different, and I completely understand that. So please take my life lesson with a grain of salt, but please listen to me for a second. Okay, I have tons of people in my life that I love and adore, and they've been working full time since, graduating from post-secondary. So they've been working for about 8 to 10 years, right? And they don't have any assets. What I mean by that is money put away in investments, money that you can take out in case anything happens. You don't have a car, you don't have an apartment, you don't have things that are worthy of investing in. Not saying that a car is a good investment, but you know what I mean. What happened to your money? And I worry, because how are you going to live the rest of your life? What are you saving up for? Do you have financial goals? Do you want to save money to be able to live more comfortably in the future? Are you planning for your retirement? And maybe I'm just hypersensitive to this because I used to work at the bank, but I don't want you to be poor. I don't want you to financially struggle for the rest of your life because you're making poor decisions, so you get a hit or a kick right now. And I'm not calling people out who have hobbies. We all spend money on our hobbies. I spend a lot of money on my hobbies, but it doesn't mean that I have nothing. You do not need a $150 Labubu. $150 is a lot of money. You don't need to spend that on useless stuff. You can spend a lot of money if you have a lot of disposable income, right? I'm not targeting you guys. I'm talking about spending every single penny on things that satisfy your current addiction, and you're not planning for your future. I really worry about you, and I don't want you to struggle in the future. So anyways, wrapping this up, do not spend money on useless stuff. Life lesson number 10, try to live somewhere else. I've personally lived 3 lives. I was born in China. I lived there till I was about 6 years old. And then I moved to Canada when I immigrated with my parents. And when I was 27, I fully moved my life abroad to Japan. And I'm so, so, so grateful for these experiences. I don't think anyone who has had an opportunity to live abroad away from their hometown has ever regretted it. So life advice number 10 is definitely try and live somewhere else. There's lots of different ways to do it. You can do it temporarily. You can do it for 6 months. You can do it for 2 years, whatever you want. But I highly recommend trying that for yourself. Life tip number 11 is to challenge your own thinking. Befriend people who think differently from you. Obviously, don't compromise your fundamental values, but sometimes it's really interesting to hear from a different perspective why people think the way that they think. Don't limit yourself to your own set of beliefs because you can change your mind anytime. Continue to challenge your own thinking. Continue to read books that contradict everything you believe in. And I want people to know that it's extremely valuable to be open-minded and like a sponge, being able to absorb information, process it, and make conclusions from that. But most importantly, respect other people for their beliefs as well. Life lesson number 12, and another one to do with money is earned, not saved. In order to have more money, I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that it doesn't come from saving more money. It comes from making more money. There are limitless resources on the internet that will teach you how to, start a side hustle or any other additional streams of income. And if you're serious about it, you're bound to find something that works for you, that's easy, that's accessible, that you can actually use to make more streams of income. Life lesson number 12 is if you want more money, it is earned, not saved. Life lesson number 13. If you're invited, go. You were invited because somebody wants you there. Somebody cares about you. Somebody wants you to show up for them. So show up for them. Be there for them. Of course, to some capacity, I think it's very important to choose yourself and your own comfort, but I think people that you care about are worth being tired for, are worth being inconvenienced for. Not every single social event is going to perfectly match your schedule, but it's up to you to make it work and make it happen. And I believe you can do it. Life lesson number 14. Do stuff with strangers. It might sound stupid and very cliche, but I truly believe this as well. Strangers are just friends that you haven't made yet. I know this may be difficult because I am an extrovert and not everybody watching this is an extrovert. So, it's very daunting to hang out with strangers, but I swear, if you put in effort, if you go out and, meet people, it always feels great to make new friends. Life lesson number 15. If you commit to your decisions, you will have no regrets. And what I mean by that is to be confident in your decisions and your choice. So no matter the outcome, hey, that was a decision I made and I stand by it. I think too often many of us are crippled with regret, I should have chosen differently. But that's what you chose. Take responsibility for the outcome of your decisions and commit to them. That way, you won't regret any decision you make. It's okay. Things will pass, and if anything, you just learned a very valuable lesson. Life tip number 16 is to stand up for yourself and others. And within the same realm is also to advocate for yourself. No one should be a bigger hype man for you than yourself. If you're being misunderstood, explain yourself. If you're being framed for something you're not, defend yourself. If you find that your character is being questioned, stand up for yourself. And if you witness your friends or your peers being misunderstood or bullied, stand up for them too. If you stand up for someone who's hurting, and you might never know the impact, but for them, it means so, so, so much. Life lesson number 17 is to spend more time with your parents and or family. Again, this depends on your relationship with them, but in a general sense, if the relationship is relatively healthy, we actually have very limited time to spend with our family. I am a single child. My mom and dad just have me, and I moved across the world. And I realize now that I got to spend 25 years with them, but it's very unlikely that we'll live under the same roof ever again. And now that I live abroad, I'm going to see them even less. Treasure the time that you have with your family, because before you know it, you will not have the opportunity to spend that much time with them anymore. Life lesson number 18. First impressions really matter, so take it seriously. You know Eminem's song, "You only have one chance, one opportunity." Well, that's what first impressions are. You only have one chance to nail this. So out of respect for yourself, do it properly. Life lesson number 19, take pictures. I feel like in every friend group, I'm like the auntie that always like gathers the group together, like everyone get together, let's take a picture. After the event is over, you don't have anything to remember this event by and who was there and everything. Your memory will become blurry with time. All you have are these pictures to show for it. So especially in your youngest, hottest years, in your 20s and your 30s. Take as many pictures as you can. Life lesson number 20 is to be open-minded about food. What I realized through traveling and experiencing different cultures and different foods is that good food tastes good. It might be made of mysterious ingredients that you've never seen before. You're more open to having positive experiences and memories that you'll probably remember for a lifetime. And just because it's weird in your culture doesn't mean that it's not normal anywhere else. I am especially passionate about this one because I eat everything and anything. I don't have any allergies. I'm like very open-minded about food. And I really think that every time I've gotten to try something new, it was a positive experience. And it's okay to not like what you're trying, but I think what's important is that you're open-minded and you make an effort to try. Life lesson number 21 is to wear sunscreen. Use your goo before it turns to poo. Say it with me. Use your goo before it turns to poo. That's right, everyone. Skincare is actually less about what you're buying as opposed to how often you're using it. Whether your moisturizer is $10 or $1,000, it's meant to do the same thing. Instead of being so fixated on what you put on your face, oh, I need to buy, $500 moisturizer, it's about consistency. There's lots of beautiful women in their 50s and 60s on TikTok that I've seen that have perfect supple skin, and they swear by L'Oreal or Olay from the drugstore, and they've been using the same product since their 20s. And this is the level of consistency that I mean. And being consistent is what's going to give you long-term visible results. Life lesson number 22. If you're going to do something, do it well. I first learned this quote from my grade 7 teacher, Mr. Davies, shout out to you. And he used to always say this phrase in our ear. And ever since I learned that, I feel like I definitely apply it to every avenue of my life. If you're going to do something, why half-ass it? If you're going to do something, why give a result that you're not proud of? And for those of you who don't like to try, and that's why you kind of half-ass everything, you have to try. Sorry, you have to try. Life lesson number 23 is to have a hobby. Most of us have found our hobbies, but if you haven't yet, don't give up. There's still so many things you can try. Hobbies don't have to be inaccessible and expensive. There's lots of things you can do for free, but the benefit of having a hobby definitely outweighs the cost. Hobbies bring you joy, hobbies bring you satisfaction, they bring you new communities of people who are interested in the same thing, they bring you friendships. I know a couple that met playing volleyball and they got married. I know a couple that met on a university ski trip because they both snowboard and they're also married. And me personally, a lot of my lifelong friends are from the communities that I occupy. For example, my cosplay friends that I've had since I was 15 years old, and my newest community, my motorcycle friends. So find yourself a hobby. Life lesson number 24 is to squash conflict. There is so much power in a sincere apology, and it takes so much courage to do it as well. Please apologize and make up. The mental cartwheels that you'll do trying to avoid this person or second guess their intentions or actions is exhausting. You do not need that in your life. So if there's conflict, talk about it, apologize, and make up. Life lesson number 25 is to take responsibility for your actions. A lot of the times I'll hear this. Oh, I went on a date and after the date, she ghosted me. What a terrible person. Yes, ghosting is not right. It's a very hurtful thing to do and I don't recommend it by any means. But instead of jumping the gun and blaming her for ghosting you, did you ever think about what you may have done that made her feel uncomfortable and unable to face you and unable to break up with you after your first date? What did you do wrong? If someone is mad or upset with you, you might immediately jump to, oh, they have anger issues. Oh, they have attitude issues. But why are they mad at you? What did you do? I think it's very important to have the skill to be able to remove yourself from that and think about what you could have done to cause this and what you can do better in the future before jumping to conclusions and victimizing yourself. Life lesson number 26. Do stuff that makes you feel silly. Dance when there are buskers playing music on the street. Dress up on Halloween. Go to a weird convention that's happening in your area. Why do people even organize events? Why are there community things happening all the time? So you can go. Feeling silly is one of the greatest joys in life. I attest to that. Life lesson number 27. It is not cringe to try hard towards your dreams. What I mean by that is I observe that effort comes off as cringe nowadays. People who are, making music, making art, doing things to try and make their dreams come true. The rest of the internet or even their friends and family think like, oh, look at this person trying to do this thing. And it might feel cringe because you're being scrutinized by the entire internet and people that are supposed to love you and care for you. But I'm here to tell you that it's not cringe. You are doing something that they wish they had the courage to do. So whatever it is that you're working towards, trust me, it is not cringe. You working hard towards your dreams is an inspiration. And the world can't wait to see it. It takes an incredible amount of courage to put yourself out there and put your art and your soul out on the plate for the internet to scrutinize. And I just want you to know that it's not cringe at all to do that. Without art, without music, without content, the world will not be what it is. We need people to create so other people can enjoy. And I hope that with your hard work and dedication that your dreams do come true. You are uniquely you, and there is no other person in this world quite like you. Life lesson number 28 is know yourself, be yourself, and be honest with yourself. Don't change yourself to fit the status quo. Don't change yourself to be validated by other people. You know who you are, you know what you care about, so stick to your guns. I would say some of the most inspirational people just walk to the beat of their own drum. They are unapologetically them, and it's so refreshing to be in the presence of these people because they don't care what you think. They don't care about being validated, and neither should you. This does not mean that you do not adapt to social norms. Of course you do. Don't lose yourself to society. Don't lose yourself and your individuality to the crowd. One thing that a lot of people have told me all throughout my life is that I am quite authentic to who I am. And I agree with that. I don't often find myself conforming so I can be validated. Your crowd and your people are going to love you just the way that you are, and you do not need to compromise who you are and your individuality for the world. Last but not least, we have life lesson number 29, and that is it's okay to not have a plan as long as you have direction. I am living proof that everything is going to be okay. I am a living, walking example of this. I had no plan, but plenty of direction. I knew that I wanted to live in Japan, so then I came. Did I have any idea how I was going to stay? No. Did I have an idea of what I need to be able to stay? Yeah. But I figured things out as time went along, and that's okay. It's okay to not have a concrete, solid plan before you get started. What is more important is taking that first step, putting yourself in an environment where you're already halfway there. I knew that if I moved to Japan, I would need somewhere to live and a financial means of supporting myself. Did I know exactly what that was going to look like? No, but I figured that out after I arrived, because the end goal is to be able to live in Japan. I apply the same philosophy when I'm on vacation. For example, I know that I want to go to Okinawa. What am I going to do there? I don't know. I just know I want to go there. So then once I arrive, or before I arrive, I'm at the airport or something, I will figure out my itinerary. You don't need to freak out and plan everything in advance. If you're open-minded, you will always have fun no matter what you do, and everything will always work out. And this is a life lesson that I live by every single day. You need direction, but you don't need a solid plan. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Angie. This has always been Angie. And this is 29 life lessons from a 29-year-old. I feel like I've lived a very exciting and fruitful life so far with lots of different experiences. And these are the lessons that I live by every single day. So this is by no means life advice, but just takeaways from my own personal life. And I'm sure a lot of you will not even agree with some of the things that I'm saying here, but I hope that it was interesting to at least listen to how I've gotten here. If it isn't obvious enough already, I love life. And I really do feel like I make the most out of my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you so much for your time today. I really hope to see you in the next one. If you have any tips for how I can improve, obviously this is my first time doing this ever. I've never filmed a long form video ever before. Please leave your comments, suggestions, and tips down below. Any constructive criticism is also appreciated. Thank you so much again, and see you later. Bye.